Eastern Turkey is a region that captivates with its dramatic mountains, ancient ruins, and traditions rooted in centuries-old cultures. Yet, despite this rich beauty, the area remains sparsely populated. Unlike the bustling cities of Western Turkey, East Turkey feels like a place where time has slowed down. In this video, we'll uncover why this region, with all its beauty and history, has struggled to draw people in, and even why some who once called it home are moving away. To understand why so few people live in this region today, we need to look back at how it was originally settled. Thousands of years ago, the lands of Eastern Turkey were inhabited by ancient civilizations like the Eurasians and Hittites. These communities chose the region because of its strategic position along major trade routes connecting Asia and Europe. They established towns, fortresses, and roads that connected people across continents, making it a center of economic and cultural exchange. As history progressed, other empires recognized East Turkey's value and took control of the region, from the Persians to the Romans, and later the Byzantines. Each of these powers left behind distinct influences, such as temples, art, and local customs, which added layers to the region's identity. The Seljuks and Ottomans later introduced Islamic architecture, traditions, and governance structures, blending even more cultures into the area. Over time, as global trade routes shifted and empires fell, East Turkey's importance began to decline. Its rich values became a limitation rather than an asset, especially as modern infrastructure struggled to keep up. The landscape itself presents one of the biggest obstacles to settlement and development. With its towering mountains and steep valleys, this region is stunning to behold, but difficult to navigate, and even harder to build on. In many areas, roads and infrastructure are minimal. For instance, only a small portion of roads in provinces like Agri are paved. For those living here, traveling to nearby cities can mean long, winding journeys on narrow roads that are challenging and difficult to maintain. This difficulty in transportation not only makes daily life harder, but also discourages businesses from investing in the region, which further limits job opportunities. As a result, the people who live here face an economic disadvantage. In 2022, the unemployment rate in this part of the country was significantly higher by 16% than the national average of 13%, pushing many to leave in search of better opportunities elsewhere. The mountainous terrain that once provided protection and isolation has, in a modern context, become a barrier to economic growth and stability. The extreme climate is also a factor that influences life here. Eastern Turkey experiences long, harsh winters, with temperatures in cities like Erzurum frequently dropping down to -15 degrees Celsius. Heavy snowfall often isolates towns for weeks, making it nearly impossible to travel or receive supplies. In contrast, the western parts of Turkey benefit from a milder Mediterranean climate that supports year-round agriculture. This climatic difference plays a major role in people's decision to settle or not settle in the east. The limited rainfall, averaging only 300 millimeters per year in some areas, adds to the challenges. Farming is a difficult endeavor here, with many areas struggling to produce enough food to support local populations. The result is a reliance on other regions for basic resources, making it harder for communities to sustain themselves. The constant threat of natural disasters takes part in promoting the sparse population in the east. This region lies on the North Anatolian Fault, one of the most active earthquake zones globally. Over the past century, East Turkey has endured more than 20 significant earthquakes, with events like the devastating 1999 Izmit earthquake leaving a lasting impact on the region. These frequent seismic events don't just cause loss of life, they also wreak havoc on homes and infrastructure. According to the Turkish Disaster and Emergency Management Authority, more than 35,000 people in eastern Turkey were displaced by earthquakes between 2000 and 2020. Living under the constant threat of earthquakes discourages many from settling permanently, fearing they could lose everything in another disaster. In fact, many families have left their ancestral lands after experiencing firsthand the destruction and emotional toll of these disasters. The high risk of earthquakes also discourages businesses from investing in the area, contributing to the low population growth and economic stagnation. The economic structure of the region has struggled to keep pace with the West, leading to limited job opportunities and widespread poverty. Employment opportunities are scarce in the East, where the economy heavily relies on agriculture. Unfortunately, Agriculture alone can't sustain a large growing population, especially when modern industries are centered in the West. The average monthly income in the East is approximately 30% lower than in Western Turkey, and young people face high unemployment rates. According to the Turkish Statistical Institute, the youth unemployment rate in Eastern Turkey stands at 22%, notably higher than the national average of 15%. This lack of stable employment drives many young people to migrate westward, seeking better prospects in bustling cities like Istanbul, Ankara, and Izmir, where industries and jobs are more plentiful. As villages in the region are abandoned, the workforce reduces, and the gap in the economic prosperity between the industrialized West and the agricultural East continues to grow. This disparity has created a cycle of poverty and migration that hinders the region's growth and development. Eastern Turkey suffered from an industrialization gap that deepens its economic challenges, while cities in the West, such as Istanbul, Izmir, and Bursa, host thriving industries in textiles, automotive, and technology. The East lacks the necessary infrastructure to support such developments. In fact, only about 10% of Turkey's total industrial production comes from Eastern Anatolia. Businesses are drawn to the West, where access to infrastructure, larger markets, and a skilled labor force are readily available. Without substantial investment in industrial growth, the economy in the East remains stagnant. This lack of industry leads to fewer jobs, further prompting migration to the West, where cities like Istanbul have experienced explosive urban growth. With a population now exceeding 15 million, Istanbul's expansion is fueled by the very opportunities that East Turkey lacks. As a result, the region's population remains low, unable to compete with the economic allure of the West. Social and cultural factors also play a significant role in the eastern region's low population density. Let's explore how traditional lifestyles, limited access to essential services, and community isolation contribute to this trend. The East boasts a rich cultural heritage, with villages that have upheld traditional farming and livestock practices for centuries. However, this rural lifestyle, which has been central to the region's identity, is becoming less appealing to the younger generation. As of 2020, 42% of Eastern Turkey's population is under the age of 30, yet many young people see urban areas as a path to better opportunities and a more modern lifestyle. The limited career options and entertainment in rural areas often drive them to major cities, especially in provinces like Diyarbakir and Van, where migration is common. This movement leaves behind an aging population and accelerates the region's population decline. The scarcity of quality education and healthcare services is also a significant factor prompting migration from the east. Many rural areas lack access to adequate schools and medical facilities, and even larger towns often fall short in service quality. In contrast, Western Turkish cities offer modern hospitals and universities, drawing families seeking better opportunities for their children. Security concerns in eastern Turkey have significantly contributed to its low population. These concerns are driven by several factors that make the region less appealing for potential residents, businesses, and tourists. A major factor is the political instability that the region has faced, especially in areas with large Kurdish populations. This instability has sparked violence, including clashes between security forces and separatist groups. The ongoing political tensions create an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty, which discourages families and businesses from settling in the area. According to a 2021 survey, 40% of the population in East Turkey expressed concerns about safety and security, further preventing people from choosing the region as a place to live or invest. This political unrest exacerbates the region's economic and social challenges, driving even more people away and reducing the overall population. The security concerns have taken a toll on the East's economy. The region's rich history and natural beauty hold potential for tourism, yet the instability has caused this sector to suffer. The negative reputation surrounding security risks makes both foreign investors and tourists hesitant to visit the region. With fewer investments and limited tourism, the local economy remains stagnant, leaving many without stable livelihoods. As a result, many residents choose to migrate to the western parts of Turkey, where economic conditions are more favorable. This cycle of economic stagnation and migration has kept the eastern region sparsely populated, further compounding its security challenges. Government investment plays a role in the sparse population of eastern Turkey. Over the years, the government has made efforts to boost the region's economy through initiatives aimed at improving infrastructure. Since 2005, over $5 billion has been invested into areas like roads, agriculture, schools, and healthcare facilities. However, progress has been slow. For example, some provinces have only one hospital for every 200,000 people, compared to the western regions where the ratio is one hospital for every 50,000 residents. With better access to healthcare and education in the west, many families prefer relocating there, leaving behind the traditional rural lifestyle of the east. While government investment is gradually improving conditions, it hasn't been enough to close the gap and retain residents in the region. Looking at the future, is there any hope that the population of the East will flourish? Well, despite the challenges, East Turkey has significant potential for growth, especially in sectors like tourism and agriculture. If infrastructure and security continue to improve, the region could attract more residents, businesses, and investment. The government remains optimistic about the future, but success will depend on long-term commitment and continued support. With the right investments and developments, the area could transform into a thriving and vibrant region. However, for now, it remains a remote and sparsely populated part of the country. Eastern Turkey is a place of paradox, stunning yet harsh, rich in history but economically limited. Will this region someday see a significant population growth, or will it remain a remote, quiet corner of the country? If you had the chance, would you consider exploring or even settling in Eastern Turkey? Share your views below. If you found this video insightful, remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more explorations into places often overlooked, yet full of stories. Thanks for watching.